What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation, still coming at you from Centennial, Colorado. I've had a video that I wanted to make for a while, but I haven't really got around to it, so we're going to be doing that in this video. And that's what happens if you have a claim and how do you handle it. Now, before I get to that, I want to talk about a couple things that I've been thinking about these, maybe the last couple weeks, but definitely the last few days. You know, there's been some situations where prime drivers, or just drivers in general, have been in bad situations, and people have been posting videos and talking about it and things like that. And I'm directing this mainly at the newer people, because some of these older people are already set in their ways and they're going to do what they want to do. But when somebody rejoices in somebody else's misery, it says a lot to me about how they feel about their self. Like, you would never in a million years see me post a video about somebody driving down a road the wrong way, you know, making a U-turn, getting stuck somewhere, or any unfortunate incident that happens. And the reason I'm talking about this to new people coming in, you know, a lot of you guys aren't even out of TNT. I think I saw somebody had mentioned something about it, and they're not even in TNT yet. Listen, if you haven't driven one of these things yet, you definitely don't want to be talking about it, because you could be one of these people in one of these unfortunate incidents. So personally, I'm 100% against that. And I think that anybody that does it, that just says a lot about how they feel about themselves and their character. So I'm going to leave that at that. Next thing I want to talk about is, you know, Prime came out with these, with this new personal conveyance initiative that they're trying to test right now. And an email, or not an email, I'm talking about email like this is normal business, but a message was sent out. I don't know if it was from a fleet manager, from the safety department, or whatever, but that email got forwarded to another larger YouTube channel. This always really, I really don't have a problem with that channel in particular, but I do think that it's a little bit fear-mongerish and maybe more about the sensational part of the trucking industry than it really is anything else. And the problem that I have with anybody sending an internal communication to somebody outside of Prime is because that internal communication wasn't sent to be looked at for constructive criticism. It was meant to basically harm the company to one degree or another. And just think about this. In a normal business setting, forwarding internal communication to anybody outside that business, that's a fireable offense right there, in my eyes. So I didn't necessarily agree with that. But let's go ahead and talk about what this question was that was sent to me. It says, Lyle, can you do a video on claims and what happens when there's an overage? How do company lease drivers get paid when they end up having to drive 2 to 3 different places to donate leftover goods that the receiver either didn't want or didn't order? I got hammered on this situation numerous times, oftentimes messing up a good pre-plan. Well, one thing I can say about that is you really can't do anything about the pre-plan. The pre-plan is probably going to be lost. That's trucking, as they say. But how do I handle claims? First thing that I do every time I get my bills, I'm not only going to look at my bills, but before I even look at the bills, I'm going to ask the person handing me the bills, everything all right on that load? Then sometimes they might say, you know, it was short, or, you know, whatever it is. But I'm going to ask that question first, just to double check. Once I get my bills, if I see that there's some overage, shortage, whatever it is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of all the bills and I'm going to send that off to the claims. If there's anything left on the truck, I'm going to send that off to claims. Do not do your depart until you've dealt with claims. Once I've sent that, or sent those pictures and the documents to claims, I'm going to give them a call. I have the claims number in my phone. So I'm going to call them. They're going to ask me for my truck number. They're going to ask me what's going on, what products are missing, all that kind of stuff. They're going to kind of walk you through the process. Now, chances are, if it's just a little bit of stuff, they're going to just say discard it, keep it, do whatever you want with it. If you have a whole bunch of stuff left on there, I've had two things happen. I've had one where they've given me a customer code like TSG01 or whatever, and then they just say deliver to this location. In times like this, or at least on that situation, what happened was I got paid detention on that load. So I didn't do a depart on that load until I got done delivering to that secondary location, regardless of what that location is. If that was a food pantry, if we were donating, if it was going to another client, I did not do my depart I didn't do my depart macro until that was handled. Stamp my bills with detention and all that stuff, and then I would follow up on that detention down the road. Another way that I've had it happen where there was an overage on it was that it almost got dispatched as a totally different load to me. So it showed up in my load screen with an amount that was going to get paid, and that's how I got paid on that. Now, if there's a shortage, that's a little bit easier because you're not left with anything on your truck. Now, here's what happens, okay? The reason that you don't want to do your depart, and I'm going to kind of do this two different ways. One of the ways you don't want to do your depart is when you do your depart, you don't want to say that there's a claim on the load, because if you say there's a claim on the load, you're not going to get dispatched on another load with that sitting there. So what I do is, once I've got a hold of claims, let's say it was a shortage, they're going to give me a claim number. I'm going to write that claim number on my bills, all that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to do my depart call, and when it says, is there a claim on the load, I'm going to say no at that point. So that's kind of how that works. Or you're going to be waiting around forever to get another load and wondering why. The reason I know this is because I did do that one time, which is why I know that's not how to do this. Damn, I lost my train of thought real quick. Yeah, now, oftentimes, depending on where you're at, and this was another question that I had a long time ago that I answered to this person directly. A lot of times, once you're done delivering, they're going to kick you out of the shipper, or they just don't have space for it. Now, claims is going to ask you not to do anything or not to leave and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? The thing about claims is they ain't the one sitting in the truck. They aren't the one that, is basically, listen, most of the people in claims don't understand what predicament you're in. So at that point, if I have a shortage, overage, or whatever, if I can't stay on that property, I'll try to find a place, maybe on the side of a road somewhere. If it's an industrial area, might do that. Work through claims. If not, I'm going to go to a truck stop that's close by if one's around. Sometimes you can't, I often tell my wife this, you can only do what you could do. If they're kicking you off the lot, you're not going to fight them about, you have to stay on the lot for this if they're trying to back somebody into your spot. But as far as the pay goes, like I said, just circling back around to answer this question again, you're either going to get paid detention on it or they're almost going to dispatch it like another load. Let me take a look and see if there's anything that I missed there. Yeah, so depending on how that happens, and I've had a lot of claims, oftentimes in the summertime doing produce is when it seems to happen the most. I've had it where, the detention was getting paid out as detention because you had an overage, and they're like, okay, go drop it off at this place, and then you're dropping it off, and maybe you're there for 3 hours. So maybe it took like 4 or 5 hours past when you would normally get paid detention on that load, then you get paid detention in that. Another case I had to deliver it the next day. And then instead of getting paid detention, it was more of a layover situation. And again, like I've said previous, it could be sent out as almost a separate load. No, I was kind of all over the place on that one. I do apologize, but the main thing to think about, or the main thing to remember when you're doing this, is do not do a depart on that until you've got with claims. And do not send your departure on that until that load is offloaded if you have an overage on it. Hope that makes sense. I am in chill mode, really not thinking too much about trucking. I did have a few things I wanted to say about this last safety meeting that came up, but we'll save that for another time. I do appreciate you guys stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.